Hello, everybody. Welcome to Just a Tip Tuesday with Garrick, Greg. We're back. We're back in sunny California.
Nice and warm here.
Nice and warm. Nice. It's probably too warm. Might get a little armpit sweat by the end of this podcast, but that's okay. Sun is just
toasty in this
beaming.
corner.
I'm gonna walk out of here with like a red neck. People are gonna ask me what's going on. I got sunburned at the beach. I was just filming a podcast. That's all.
Lovely. So what do we got on the queue today there?
We're talking about how technology and shopping around is affecting mortgages or has affected mortgages.
Okay. Yeah. So, I kind of think, 5 years ago when people were first going online to apply for a mortgage was kind of a different uncomfortable zone for everybody where they were like, oh, where is my data going to be safe online? I don't want to go online and fill out a form. And then 5 years later, it's like everybody's asking for that. Where can I apply online? And can I not talk to somebody? Can I do it myself and submit it and see how it goes that way? So it's certainly changed, I think, in my opinion, a lot just on the application side of it, let alone the digital mortgage aspect, and where that's going is a whole different conversation. But consumer base, I think their trust is improved a lot when it comes to the data storage and safety of their personal information. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think definitely people don't want to talk to anybody anymore. And they're all about just like, I want it now and I just want it done. And there's a lot of studies coming out now about how much money you actually save, like by shopping or even just seeing like a second, like a mortgage proposal or going to a marketplace where you can kind of get more than one opinion, which has been like known in society for a while now, like with hotels is a good example. Like, people don't call 15 hotels before their trip, or they don't go walk into.
More like if I'm going to go on a trip to like Las Vegas or go to a trip to like Hawaii, I'm going to call the Hyatt directly and book my room and not check anywhere else.
Or just call the Bellagio and say, hey, what are room rates? Yeah, I'll take that.
I'll take that.
It's like they go to hotels.com or they go to an aggregate and they can see the marketplace of like, okay, this is where it's at. This is the most affordable one. This is the middle of the road, but the best quality. I'm going to take that.
Yeah, that's the mortgage industry today. Is like calling a direct hotel and asking them what their rate is and booking it, and then not even checking what else they can get it for. Instead of going to one platform like a marketplace like us, like an Expedia or Hotels.com, and then they put in their information when they're going to be there. And all the hotels, even the one they call, will pop up. And most of the time, it's a better rate than they would get calling directly, because that particular site will deal in volume, right? So
yeah, they'll block off. And I mean, it was like 2018. It was like over 7 million, 7.71 or 7.17, something like that. Million. We'll put the actual
million
number
or
here.
billion.
Million mortgages were executed.
Million with a B?
Million with an M. In 2018, and it was something like 47% of those people accepted their first offer. So they just like, somebody said, this is the best scenario I can get you at a bank, and they said, done, I'll do it.
Do you know if that's refis or purchases? You don't know.
It's across the board. Yeah. Out of the 7+ million mortgages that were executed in 2018, like 47% of those people took their first offer, and 80% of those people could have saved, I mean, somewhere, the CFPB published it, and it was between like $1,500 and $3,000 in savings just on rate, not on closing costs, not on anything else. So if you look at that, it's between $6 and $12 billion in 1 year that people could have saved if they just looked at one more quote or went to a marketplace where they'd be able to save. You don't have to do anything different.
Yeah, it's
literally
like
ask for any additional information, or they qualify for some special product. So that was interesting to me.
And everybody wants a lower monthly payment, because this generation is more about monthly payments and how much is it per month than it is I want to pay it off tomorrow or next week or next 5 years.
Yeah.
And I think, the old school style mortgage, when you go to a mortgage brokerage house or a firm or a bank, it's literally like going to book a vacation and going to a travel agent and going to like the mall with your family and then booking a vacation. Like, that's how old school the industry is.
I have a travel agent. Yeah. Name is Darcy.
Is it Blanche, the name, or Rose?
Yeah, she's unreachable after 3 o'clock. I have to fax her in. My passport.
It's technical faxing. Gotta mail it to them.
Yeah.
Mail the originals.
But, Tom, what's our question? What's our second question?
How has the financial crisis affected trust in the financial services segment?
The trust.
So you mean like since the crisis in 2008, the mortgage meltdown? Like, do the users trust mortgage platforms, and does the platforms trust the users?
Both ways. So
both ways. Like Garrick. So Garrick, he goes both ways. All right.
Like on freeways.
You might as well go ahead. You're
Sometimes
comfortable with this topic.
I'll cover this topic because I'm so experienced in it. Well, no, I think that the financial crisis definitely had an impact on both sides. So one side being the lenders trusting the consumers or setting up. It's tough to say really because the lenders were the ones that deemed it okay to accept the consumer's word. Like one of the biggest things that was an impact in '08 and all of that was like what's called like a ninja loan, no income, no job, no assets. Like they would, whatever you could write on paper, they weren't really verifying anything. So these people couldn't afford them in the first place. And it's, now you're putting the responsibility on the consumer to say, hey, I can get this, but can I actually afford it or not? Well, I'm just going to say that I can so I can get it. And they were getting 3 or 4 houses at one time when they weren't qualified to do so.
Yeah, I think in general, my opinion is that I think the lenders, the banks, took advantage of the consumers in a way where they were offering products where they thought the marketplace would continue to rise in value, so house values would continue to rise, so they can just continuously refinance their consumers, their customers, so that they would get more and more pay, like more and more commission.
Yeah.
Because every time they redo the mortgage, the institutions, they get paid again. So the more it cycles through or recycle the mortgage, the more money they make. So I think greed had a big part of it. Personally, is what I think. And I think now it's changed a lot where the lenders have to do more due diligence on their end as well. And yes, for sure, like the consumers, some of them, back in the day probably knew what was going on, but they rolled the dice with that as well because I'm sure they were benefiting it too by getting homes that they probably wouldn't be able to qualify for, hoping that the market would go up,
Rental
and then
properties,
they would be able to refinance into a place where they'd be able to afford it eventually. So.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't think that really the banks don't trust consumers. They've now just kind of they just do their due diligence. Like they're just making sure that you have the ability to repay. And I believe that I agree right after '08 they went like kind of real extreme, and it wasn't really because they were scared and didn't trust them, but they really needed to get back on their feet like financially and establish like some sort of like trust with the secondary markets and the people that were actually buying up the loans, because it ultimately it wasn't the banks that were sitting on most of that paper. It was retirements and pensions for the same everyday people that were getting the loans, and that was, I think, the biggest barrier. But do banks trust consumers? I know, but I don't think they ever do. It's like they're always looking for those entry barriers. So yeah, it got real strict there for a while, and it's definitely loosened up. They're starting to bring back some like logic to how can somebody qualify for a mortgage and the timelines and the deadlines. But
yeah, I think you're right. I think it's not so much a trust factor; it's more about due diligence and make sure that their liability compliance wise that they've checked every possibility, so that they're not, because the regulators are watching them. So it's more about them doing their due diligence, and not and making sure that every bit of the application has been looked at, and nothing, and there is some, there's definitely some parts of our industry where the consumer doesn't disclose everything, and that makes it more challenging for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What's our next question, Rosie?
A recent Bloomberg article said more of the mortgage application process is now happening online and on mobile phones. Do you see a day where the process can be handled entirely from a smartphone?
Bloomberg article, technology, 100%. I think that just for what we just spoke about, people are looking for ease of use. They don't want to talk to somebody. They're utilizing or ready to utilize technology to just get it done.
Yeah, we're building a progressive web app, and that's the difference, is that you're not going to have to go to Apple Store or go to like Google Play to download something. You're going to have one, most lenders, everybody in business is going to have a progressive web app, meaning that when you go on your phone, you'll be able to have the same functionality of a website, and be able to store docs and move things around, and not have like to download something, have the icon on your phone, and
it loads instantly.
Yeah. So I think that's where the future's going as far as that goes, and I think having more of a digital process. I think a lot of innovations coming our way. I know we have a lot of exciting stuff coming down the pipeline as far as innovation goes, for our users, and some of our partners as well for lenders. But that's probably going to be early, late this year and early next year for that kind of exciting news. But what do you think? Where do you think it's going to go? Do you think it's going to be like an Alexa of the world, like where it's just going to be like you talking to her something, or do you think it's going to be more of a platform of like you have one signature kind of digital footprint and that every month it uploads your bank statements and pay stubs and stuff. And
Yeah, that's
and,
what I think.
yeah.
I don't think you're gonna have to like. The weirdest part about it, well, not the weirdest part, but the most difficult, annoying part for the lenders, the brokers, the consumers, everybody is that verification of like documents and transferring it, and you'd have to do it for so many things. If you're going to get a car loan, you got to verify. If you're going to get an auto loan, or I mean, if you're going to get a home loan, if you're going to apply for a business line of credit, like it's all the same documents for the same person. So.
Exactly. So we're trying to build that right now for the future. So our users will have one dashboard with all their stuff on it, and we're going to be like their financial valet with tips, and we'll be able to create APIs to upload all their information in one data source for them, and then whenever they need it, they have access to it, obviously, and it's just going to be a lot easier for them in the future to move forward.
It's almost like validating a currency. Like you validate a person, they have this much purchasing power, that's it, and that stays validated. So if they want to buy a house, if they want to buy a car, like it's
validated
done.
As in like it gets updated as well. Like
Exactly,
as they pay down their mortgage, their lending global limit would go up every time they would do a payment or pay off a credit card.
I think it'll make it more accurate too, because now you could like mess with taxes or omit something, or somebody submits like this and they're using
it's going to eliminate fraud because we're getting it right from the APIs directly
Exactly.
from the IRS or right from the bank, so there's no paper at all. So,
exactly.
I think that's going to be the questions. You have any more questions there?
Anything else, Roosevelt?
Tom ass Roosevelt.
Rosie.
No.
Nothing.
That's
Nothing.
it? All right, we're
You
gonna
want
wrap
us
it
to
up.
wrap it up? Alrighty. Well, have a great week, everybody. If you have any questions, please let us know. And if you don't have any questions, also let us know. Any type of engagement, we like attention. See you
Everybody,
later.
you mean that one listener?
Yeah. There might be 3 now.
Okay. all
Might
right.
be 3, and Thomas is one of them.
You can
so.
thank them individually and write them like thank you letters for watching. Or
I'm gonna write handwritten notes to you 3 viewers. It's coming. All right. Have fun. See you guys later, and we'll talk soon.